get ready. We gotta get ready, get ready. We gotta get ready. Thank you again for joining. Real talk, real change. Be coming in. Let's see. There she is. There she is. Hello, how are
I'm
you?
good. How are
I
you?
am good. I am good. I was just letting everybody know that you was coming. You was coming
I was
there.
coming. I was
Girl,
actually
go ahead.
I was actually already here. I couldn't get in.
Oh, okay, okay. So let me just let everyone know this is Olivia Harris, and
Hey everybody.
Olivia. Um, it's funny how we met, but Olivia. First, let me tell you, Olivia is a mother, an author, a tech consultant, business owner, and the list goes on, y'all, for real. But
And everything.
but I'm gonna tell you how I met her before we start. Actually, I was on TikTok and I started a t-shirt business type, and I noticed some of the stuff that she had on there. So when I reached out to her, she had a lot of information to help me out with a lot of different stuff. She actually she's the one that did my website, and we just started talking and we just connected, and she there's a lot that her and I talked about, and I felt like she would be a good person to have on here that can share some of her things that she went through and how she overcame them, and not only that but as well as the steps that she took for to get to where she is. So I am going to let Olivia talk to you guys now, so you all can hear her story, how she actually she came from a hopeless and a dark place, and then she can tell you now basically how that all took place.
Okay. Ooh, where do I start? Okay, so um yeah, I was pretty much like everybody else, started with nothing, low income, just going through every month, just really praying like um asking questions like, why is this happening to me? Why am I always the one? You know how we always feel like every time something happening to us, we're always, it's only happening to
Me,
me, it don't
right,
happen for nobody else. So I was heavy on that, just like everything happening for me, and just really questioning and trying to figure out like, I remember so many nights doing those little late night searches, like how to make money online, how to how to be a content creator, just looking up anything I can do to make money. Um and at the same time just dealing with life, dealing with, I was married for over 10 years, and like she said, I have 4 kids, so it was just a lot, like, and during this time I was pregnant like every I feel like I was pregnant like every other year.
right, right.
um and basically, so I was in a position in life, I was a military spouse at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were young, like my ex-husband and I, we were young. And we kind of didn't even have like a plan in life, a plan for anything. We just kind of was like winging it
Mm-hmm.
and doing the best that we knew how to do, for like, two people coming from two totally different backgrounds and trying to join together while being immature, and just not having life together, thinking, not listening to any advice that anybody was giving us, just like in that rebellious, we so in love stage.
Right.
uh and pretty much like that stuff just took it, just everything just went downhill real fast trying to be grown.
So let me ask you a
um
question real quick. So how old were you guys first got married?
um I, I was 22 and he was 20.
Okay, okay, okay.
So, and he had just turned 20, so he was a baby. Um, and yeah, like, and I was that like kind of person that I just, you could probably tell already from like what you know of me, of my
Mm-hmm.
personality, that I was the person, I kind of think I know everything. Like I'm always trying to do something, and now it works good well for me because I have stepped into that and matured into it more. But before I was like hard-headed with it, like I just thought I was so grown, and knew everything, didn't want to listen to anybody. Um and that was one of the things that I had to let go of, like a lot of what it took for me to get to where I am came from me learning how to let go of who I was, learning how to let go of all the bad habits I had, a lot of sacrifice. And it's just so crazy even thinking about it now, like where I was to where I am now. Because I know a lot of people sit in where they are, and it feels like no matter what, like good things we hear, it feels like when you're in a dark place, it feels like you never gonna get out.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, it just feel like you're gonna be stuck like that forever, and it's never gonna happen for you. So you
Mm-hmm.
get in this like place where you start to feel like that, like this is real life for me. I'm never gonna get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really it took a lot of looking at me and
Yourself.
not looking at everybody else, like what am I doing that's causing my situation to be what it is, or better yet, what am I not doing that could change my situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching Divorce Court, and I started listening to Judge Lynn Toller. I started listening to everything that she was saying, and I started reading a lot. I bought her book, and I pretty much just like I started calming down a little bit. Like I was crazy, the crazy wife breaking stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
used to like it's so crazy hearing all the stuff that knowing all the stuff that I did I would never do this day. But
Right, right,
I was the wife that I needed to know, like, how many women are around you, do a pan around, let me see.
right.
I was really insecure and really like um just not living it through my words. Like I was just really into like what he's doing. And I feel like a lot of what I didn't realize too was that regardless of how much I check on this man's phone, regardless of how much I do anything, I cannot do anything to change anybody
That's
else's
right.
behavior. All I can do is control me. So I got heavy into that, and I started doing things that fed into myself
Mm-hmm.
rather than like pouring. When you're not feeding into yourself, you pouring out.
Right.
So
Yeah.
instead of like emptying my cup all the time, I started just focusing on me and what can I do. So um I stopped being so crazy and like yelling and stuff. I started learning how to listen more. I started learning, just reading and taking into stuff that I like.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things I noticed when I started doing that was he noticed, like people around me noticed
Mm-hmm.
that I was changing before I even knew that I was changing.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that's the big thing. I besides like God, that's the big thing that I contribute if I'm saying it right, contribute my success to, is that I learned how to slow down and stop asking why everybody doing something this to
Mm-hmm.
me, and start seeing what am I doing that's
That's
hurting myself.
and that's what I was going to ask you as far as God was concerned, because I know that you said, I know He played a big part of it, because
Yes.
I mean, in order for us to change, not only do we have to want to change, but He changes us. If you want to be changed, you can be changed. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So basically from what you was going through, and you noticed the change. I mean, were you doing anything like different as far as like reading your Bible, or you know going to church, or you know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
So I was one of those people that I grew up in
Mm-hmm.
church. And then like, we did when I moved away, I didn't really go I didn't never found like that. I never found that homey feeling with another church. So I kind of just like stopped going.
Mm-hmm.
But I never stopped reading the Bible. I never like lost my full relationship with
Mm-hmm.
God. And a lot of times I did feel like, I do have a whole story. Like, I felt I was abused when I was a kid, when I was like 14, by my cousin. And after that, I went through this whole phase where I stopped dating men. I started dating women for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like so much stuff, like it was hard living in a position where I was like this Christian, I love God, but I'm doing stuff that's not of him.
Reason.
And not just like with my relationships, but like other things like that I was, doing as a knucklehead young person.
Right, right.
And it really took a lot of going to my lowest to see that I was doing wrong in a lot of areas.
Hmm.
And I feel like for my personal journey, it was a lot of um God didn't give up on me. Like
Amen.
it was
Yes.
like he
Mhm.
just kept on, like it just kept being so to the point where I actually got mad. Like it was so deep because it was like, okay, I stopped, like, okay, this is horrible. Like my life is horrible. But I'm doing this bad thing. Let me stop. So I got out of the whole, like, dating women and stuff, dating girls and stuff, and I went, let me go back, let me go to men and stuff. And I realized that I didn't even do it because I really was like that. It was really because I was afraid of men because
Right,
of being hurt so much. Um, and so after that, it was just like I feel like, okay, I did this thing, like I made a whole change. Okay, God, what my blessing? Like I
right.
was so, I was so looking every time I did any one thing, I was looking already for the prize,
Mhm.
and not realizing that the journey was not over yet.
Oh,
Like I'm still in it. And so anytime anything will happen, I would be so mad at God. Like, okay, now I'm married. I waited till, I'm having kids after I'm married. I'm doing all this stuff, but my marriage is horrible. Like I'm like, what ain't this in the Bible? Ain't this what I'm supposed to be doing?
right, right.
So it's like everything I looked at as like kind of like God owed me because I'm doing what he say. Um, and
That's how you felt. That's how
that's
you
how
felt.
I felt. Yeah, that's how I felt. And I'm like, it's like every time I would do something that's like, they say to do, like every time I'm praying, it's like I was, instead of thinking of it like I'm doing this for me, I was like, I'm doing this for you because you the one want the praise. You the one
Right,
wants this, want that. So it's like I had this real backwards way of thinking
right,
and didn't even realize
right.
it until he had to like face me to me. Like I had to look at myself,
Hmm.
and I got to the point where I just couldn't even cry no more. Just I couldn't. I was so hurt, so sad that I just sat there and I couldn't cry. I was I had kids already at this point. And I just felt hopeless. Like I felt like ain't no point to do anything.
Hmm.
Like I'm not trying anything no more. Nothing matters. And I feel like that was my big moment of change when I'm getting to the point like I can't even cry. Like I'm just gonna sit here, and I became a shell. My kids noticed like I just wasn't the same. And it took a lot of praying to get me out of that. Like I just started praying a lot,
Hmm.
and not like how, like I feel like growing up you hear so many like certain types of prayers,
Yes, yeah.
um like so structured and stuff,
Right, right.
but I
When it does not all, when it's not really all about like that.
Mhm.
I mean, you come to him as you are, and I mean, how you pray, that's how you pray. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah,
like a script or something you got to write down and rehearse or anything.
right.
But I understand from growing up, and you would hear people.
Hmm.
I mean, me too. I remember way back then too, whereas you would kind of hear the same prayers you know,
Yeah.
at the different churches and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, God is still God, no matter what.
Yes. And even like the same beginnings of prayers, the same endings. So what I did was, it's like, when you get to that point where it's like you just feel hopeless, you kind of don't care
Hmm.
anymore. Like you don't care about the rules. So I didn't care about the rules. I just started talking
That's
to him like normal, like I'm talking right now.
mhm.
And I just noticed stuff. Like I noticed, like I would say something or ask something or just like, talk about something, and then I'll notice that like something on TV or something that I would just so happen to read that day will be the exact thing that I just prayed about. And I'm like, hold on, like this, like, is this, am I getting talked to?
Right, right.
Like so I just was like that started to happen a little more. But me being me, I felt unworthy. So I didn't tell people like, oh, I feel like God talking to me. Like I just kept it to myself.
Hmm.
Um, but then I saw it like when my ex-husband, when we were still married at the time, and he started to say certain things to me, like, didn't you just say that you want this to happen, and now these people calling you out the blue and it's happening. Like he started to see stuff and say like, I think God talking to you and stuff. Like, um and it really wasn't through any of the traditional way that people say like you're supposed to go to God like this, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. It was just really like you said, me coming to him as me. I'm
Yeah.
broken.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am though.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started doing things that I felt like, like I was always that kind of logical thinker. And I'm like, how will we really know what to do if everybody got all these different views on everything, everybody arguing about this and this and that? How you supposed to know? So I just started doing things that like, okay, I feel like he telling me to do this. Now checking it, saying, okay, this not nothing wrong. So if I do it, what's the real harm? Besides me, being inconvenienced a little. So when I would do things that I felt strongly that he was telling me to do, I started seeing my life just take off. Like, um, one example is that, like how I said, I was crying. I used to be so sad, like struggling to pay my light bills. And like I thank God for my ex mother-in-law. She's still like my mother-in-law now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so many times she helped us when I just felt like I don't know how we gonna make it through this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And times where I didn't even have to ask, like times where I felt embarrassed asking, or just had too much pride. Um and it's
And
just so
worst,
crazy.
that's the worst
Huh?
thing. And that's the worst thing. Pride is the worst
Yes, it
thing to
is.
have. I mean, we all have it at times. It's the worst thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And the crazy thing is, like, our relationship wasn't like the best starting
Mm-hmm.
off, because of course I was taking her baby boy. And at the time I didn't understand like I do now, being a mother and having my own boys. But she did something for me that I feel like just really, like, I don't know if if God put that on her. I think so. But so I couldn't go to school because I owed another school.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't, excuse me, I couldn't go to school. I couldn't go to college. So, and I wanted to so bad. Like I tried to go to college a few times, and of course I didn't pass. I just kind of like just like failed out a few times. Um, to the point where I just never thought it will happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I'm like, let me just ask. Let me ask if she would help me, pay my balance to go to school. So soon as I asked her, of course, I was ready for like this big talk
Right.
and like,
Right.
I had a whole speech, a whole speech prepared. But soon as I asked her, she was like, "Oh, is it for you?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, yeah." So she just like did it right then and there, and I was so happy. Like I was able to enroll in school,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like one of the things that kept me going because I'm like, I couldn't let her down.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting 2 degrees for that first. I ended up getting the 2 degrees at the same time. um, and then it's like again, like, okay, God, I did this. I got the degrees. Where the job at? Like I was
Right.
so
Right.
like every time I did something, um, but and the job did not come.
Right. Because we
So
know his timing is never our timing. That's
yes,
that that's just how it is. It's his timing, but his timing is always on the.
perfect. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really like the story of my life because it's so crazy. Like I remember being like right out of high school, doing so much stuff, working for myself then and trying to do like all this stuff. That was when I first started my t-shirt business. um I was doing all this stuff and it just nothing was working,
Mm-hmm.
like nothing. And I'm like, how, like I'm putting in the work and why isn't anything like manifesting, like, or why isn't anything like, where's the results of this
Right.
hard work?
Right.
And it's so easy, like it's one thing to be not doing the work and hoping something to happen out of nothing, but it's a whole nother feeling of like hopelessness and disparity when you literally put in all these hard long hours
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not happening. And it's like, how, like what else is there to do?
Right.
But my work was missing. It was missing something. It was missing God because I was doing that stuff, and I was like, yeah, I was praying, but I wasn't living the life. And I don't mean like the life like going to church and stuff like that, but I mean like a real personal relationship with him.
Makes a difference.
Um, yeah, like when I got to the point where I was at that point where I couldn't even cry no more, that's when I feel like it kind of opened up, because now this is somebody, when I think about like having a personal close relationship with somebody, I think of being able to be yourself, not,
Right.
not hiding any part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to that point with God, it's like that's where everything just kind of, I would say, like all my prayers that I pray, my little prayer bank that's been sitting there, that I'm asking all these questions. Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? When I started getting closer to God, then everything started happening. Like it came full
Mm-hmm.
circle for me.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that is like, I wish I can go back there to my younger self and say, girl, you just don't know what he got planned. Like you just don't know all them times, man. Um,
But all
it's
of that, everything that you've gone through, I mean, we go through stuff for a reason.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not always good, but it's sometimes it's for God to bring us to a certain place.
Mhm.
You had to get to that place. You had to get out of that dark place.
Well, first I had to get into the dark place.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I had to, and that was what I wasn't understanding. Is like a lot of people like, I feel like, well, I'm not speaking for nobody else, just speaking for myself. I feel like I had the idea of like, okay, if I'm doing right, if I'm doing good, then all this stuff supposed to just automatically happen for me. I'm supposed to, I'm not out here doing no bad stuff. All this
Mm-hmm.
stuff's supposed to fall in line, but there has to be some type of strengthening. You can't go to the gym every day and not lift weights and just hope to get strong. And
Right.
that's the whole point of it. It's not just to have faith, it's to be strong in your faith.
That's right.
So I was thinking like, I'm trying to get to, I'm doing this stuff, and I was that I had plans on top of plans. My plans had plans.
Just
But ooh, when they say God will laugh at those plans.
yeah, because his plans, yeah, his plans ain't out. Your plans ain't always his plans.
Or for me, it was like my plans were his plans, but not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm expecting stuff to happen now. So once I
And
started, I started praying. Huh?
no, I'm sorry, and it don't happen, and it doesn't happen like it don't
It
happen like
don't.
that.
It don't. And it's crazy because when it finally does happen, like when it happened for me, like when I first got my first job offer, so I was like years before praying like, oh my goodness, God, please let me get, like, I'll be happy with 30,000, like 30,000 a year. 50,000 is like a bonus, like I was asking for 30 and 50,000. um as a developer, like I taught myself how to code, and I did all of this stuff, and I had no concept
Mm-hmm.
of like salary or none of that stuff. So when I got my first job offer, and they didn't even tell me like how much I was going to be making, and this is me with no experience, just getting into tech in a professional world. um I got that job offer, and I looked and saw all those zeros, and I was offering 90,000. I can tell y'all because I don't make that much no more. I make higher than that. But when I first, like, I could not believe it though. Like, here, I asked for, most of the time when we were waiting on something, we're not waiting for it to happen or not happen. We're waiting for it to be the right time so the right person can give you more than what you're asking for sometimes. Um, and it's just so, I feel like all those prayers that I felt went unanswered have come back,
Mm-hmm.
have come back around. And it wasn't uh wait till like you do a certain thing. It was a, let me see what team you on. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he
Or
knew I was gonna come to him, but
thing about it too is it's also like, let me see what you're gonna do while you wait
yes,
until I say that it's that time for you, because
yes.
all in the waiting. It's all in the waiting, and that's how God is. He'll give us the desires of our heart. But the thing is, it's a waiting process.
It is.
You know, and it's your obedience.
Yes. Yes, definitely that. And two, I think some of it is a part of your journey that somebody else is looking at is a part of somebody else's journey. Because it's crazy that like I never considered myself to be like a people person. Like even doing right now what I'm doing, talking here, I never really considered myself to be comfortable doing stuff like this. But like as my life like started to take off, other people started reaching out to me. I started being able to help other people. Like it's just so crazy, like the pool that it had, to where it's like now I'm not somebody that, I came from, having nothing to now making six figures, and I'm owning businesses. I just started my first tech startup. Like I'm doing all of this stuff,
Hmm.
and I'm not somebody that's out here like looking like I make six figures. Like people, I go to the grocery store and I'm wearing a t-shirt. Like people don't know,
Right,
what I'm saying,
right,
this
right.
about me. So it's like I learned in like a good way that when you get the things that you're praying for, is it's going to cause you to have to be in service to other people.
Yeah,
So I came up here and I'm not somebody that's like I can call myself a leader. I'm not somebody I can call myself over anybody just because of what I have. Now I'm somebody that can say, okay, I have this. Now how can I help you?
right.
So it's like I really learned the humble way of going to the top to go to the bottom.
Right. And that's what and that's, I think that's what really, not I think, I know that's what really um connected me to you, because I felt like when I first reached out to you and then we started talking and you was like, "Oh, well, I can help you do this and I can do that." And I'm thinking, because nowadays, even with businesses and people have different businesses, and they're just, possibly the same kind of industry, it's
Yeah.
always like a competition. It's
Hmm.
so much a competition, and there's so many people out there on TikTok, and with the t-shirts and the transfer,
Right.
all that
Hmm.
stuff. And I'm telling you, you was the only person that when I reached out, pretty much answered all my questions. You know, I would reach out to a few other people, but it was kind of like, they really didn't say too much, but a little bit.
Right.
And but what really got you for me was there was no hesitation. There was no hesitation with nothing. You was like, "Oh yeah, I can do this," and I'm thinking, and I told my husband, I was like, "You know what? I just met this girl on TikTok. She was like, she could do this, and this, and help me with this." And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, but you know what? That's how God worked though,
Hmm.
because when I started, and I was like, "Lord, this is something that I want to do, and I know that He was going to help me do it." And I always prayed. I said, "Lord, send me somebody, or let me meet somebody that can help me or show me what I need to do, whatever it is." But it's part of what I need, what I don't know how to do.
Hmm.
And that was my prayer for a while. And then when I came across you, and I was just like, "Okay, yeah, okay." Thank you, Lord, because that was you, and I know it was him, because, like I said, there was nobody else like that.
Right.
Nobody. So what you do is definitely help. You're always willing to help, and I'm telling you, I'm just thankful, and I still could call you today and be like,
Right.
"How do I do this?" or "Can you help me with it?" And it's like you never say no. It's always like, "Let me, I'll help you." Or what? And you're the type of person, you'll stop what you're doing to help me. And I'm just like, "No, don't, no, do what you got to do. Then you can help me." But yeah, so I think that's great. I think that's great. Yeah, that's really good. So as far as um, what was it that people was trying to tell you as far as your relationship and how to have your relationship as far as what God is concerned?
um
Because remember, you told me something about that, the ideal of what people would say about your relationship with Him.
mhm. Well, mostly like, so I learned something even from the time I told you that from now then until now. I
Mm-hmm.
learned that a lot of the things that I call myself saying, oh, people say this and people think this and I don't want people to say this about me, was really nobody was saying anything. It was me like
Yeah.
trying to assume
Mm-hmm.
of what people would say, and then I was living according to that already
Mm-hmm.
before it even happened. So I was saying like for me myself, I felt like it was like a checklist that you had to follow to determine like whether you were a person who was saved or a person is, that people can consider that you have a relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Um and one of the things was going to church. So it's like that was something that I stress even now a little bit. Like I stress so much over.
Mm-hmm.
um and I don't go to church not because I just don't want to go to church. It's some reasons like I don't go, and some reasons why I love church. But I just, especially these days, I don't I feel like I feel like I was so down on myself with the fact that I did not go to church every Sunday, to mean that I like, oh, you might as well not pray no more because you don't even go to church like that. And I'm like, I had to bring myself to the point of saying like, when did that become the deciding factor
Yeah.
of like your relationship with God? Because it's so much more than church. Like it's nice. I don't have anything against church or anything. Like it's nice to have people, but I feel like you don't. That's not the extent. I feel like that's putting a limit on, what I'm saying, what people think even that they can do. They can, what kind of relationship they can have with God, because that's what it was doing to me. And when I realized like that there are no real rules to how you go about, like, besides the rules that's in the Bible, there are no real rules in the world that you should have to listen to determine your strength in your relationship with God. So for me, it just became like, it's times that I feel like God is telling me like, I need to go to church, and I will go to church that Sunday. So he know that I'm listening, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm doing what, but yeah, I just realized that it's not, I feel like people get so obsessed with the rules of like religion that they miss out on the real prize,
Mm-hmm.
which is being close to God. And there's a real difference.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like there's a real difference, because it's so many times where I would have days that I'm just not feeling it, and I'm just so down about life in general.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you
th-
mean now before?
now,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I don't think that's ever gonna go away. But um
But I think it can. I think, and you know what? And that's where the relationship comes in with God, and that's when coming to church, going to church, and being in the midst of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always good to assemble yourself,
mhm,
with other saints and stuff. It's always good. And I think, and I'm not just saying for you or but I think when we went through that pandemic, I think a lot of people got so comfortable with online church and stuff, because I'm gonna say, and like I said, I'm gonna keep it real, because
mhm,
it too, and but because of certain stuff that's been, that has happened with me, it's been kind of, sometimes difficult for me to get to church, but I think that has a lot to do with a lot of people. They just, oh, I'll just watch it online. But I'm gonna tell you, there's nothing like being in church. Nothing like it, and that's something that because one thing about it, girl, all the things that God done brought you through, and
mhm.
the things that you received from Him now, and I mean, I didn't even go through the list of the things that you do, but I mean, it's real important that you should though. Just find you. I don't know if there's a church near you or whatever that you've gone to, but it's good. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm looking for churches, but and a friend sent me one that I can try out. I know I'm not gonna be like how people are, like they go every Sunday and
Yeah.
because I like to do the stuff outside of the church. Like I feel like a lot of people they get in the mindset of like, okay, my church family and I'm loving on my church family and my real family, and then they forget about the people that's outside of that
Hmm.
whole world. And I just feel like God is so much bigger. And I think what I think church is not just like a
Right.
building or a set of like, we do this at our church, we
Hmm.
do this at our church. I think it's way bigger than that. Like church
Hmm.
is our is us. We are the church.
Hmm.
So I feel like when they say like gather in the name of in his name, um I feel like that shouldn't have to mean, or I don't think it means like just go to church, because how I look at it, like, you know how some people I feel like will say um to like excuse like that the Bible is not true or something. They say, oh well, this is man made, this is man
Hmm.
written and stuff like that. But it's one, I have a whole thing with that, because one, everything we do is man made, and man, we eat food that's man made that we out here trusting. But this is the book that tells us, don't tell
That's
us
true.
nothing
That is
wrong.
that's right. That's the word. The word, and the word is truth.
Right.
So
And
yeah.
it's because they is not it's going against something that they don't want to do, or like, it's some biased reason why people will use that excuse. But I see so much in how church, now not all churches and not all people in church, but I see the man-made part of church coming out too much.
Mm.
Like I just don't like how when I go to a church it seems like they preaching the same thing every single Sunday, or they doing like all the hooping and hollering. It's like I can't even hear. Like, I took my
Right.
kids to church once, and they was like, "Mommy, I can't hear nothing." Like they couldn't even hear. So it's like I feel like I just don't like, when I do, when I am looking for a church, what I'm looking for in a church is one that's you actually caring about teaching the word and not
Hmm.
showing that you somebody that know the word.
Yeah. So
Um,
so
oh, let me plug up my phone.
so it's basically you just have to find you just have to actually
Finding the right one.
find you right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you have to do. And just try to make a point. If you don't go every Sunday, you at least want to go. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, because trust me,
Yeah, I
it,
go sometimes.
it
I just don't go
can't
super
help.
often.
It can't do nothing but help you because of the fact too. Look where he brought you from now.
Yes.
Look what.
But so when I'm saying my church, my relationship with God though, because I feel like a lot of people, if you notice, like a lot of people that do, like, they'll be so like church oriented and church, like basically what I'm talking, not even church, religion. They're so like religion oriented, and then they forget, like, or they don't even realize, like, you so deep in these rules, but where is God?
Right. Yeah. I get that. I
So
understand
yeah,
that.
that's really my only thing is like when I stopped, because I grew up like that too. Like I was in church like all week, growing up, like always in church. But it wasn't, and that's because that's how I grew up, with that type of
Right.
mindset of like, because that's how those kind of churches will make you feel like, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, and all this stuff that we have to do. So when I grew up, I'm like, okay, God, I'm doing this stuff, where my
Right.
stuff at. And it wasn't until I realized that what it means to really put Jesus as the center of your life, it don't mean just every Sunday. It means it's an everyday
Yes.
walk.
Yes. You're right. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that's good. So let me ask you another question. Um, when you told me earlier, the worldly sacrifices that made you the struggle.
Yes. Okay, so this is the part that where I feel like I lose a lot of people when so a lot of people reach out to me for advice, and they see you, where you are, and then they feel like, okay, she was where I was at before, and now look where she is. So let me see how I can get there too. So I, like you said, when people ask me questions, I'm quick to want
Mm.
to help, because I see when a lot of people, it used to irritate me so bad to hear when folks like, oh, I made this $1 million, and if I can do it, you can do it. And I'm like, girl, gone. Like, if I could make $1 million, I would have made $1 million
Right.
already. But I see what they mean.
Mm.
They're like, if I can get to where I am, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, the journey wasn't as tough, then like it's is nothing special about me that brought me here that can't bring somebody else to the
Right.
same spot. So that's what they mean when they say like if I can do it, you could do it too. So when people write me and stuff and I try to tell them the things that I did, I lose them with the worldly sacrifices because that means like you can't be on social media scrolling all day. Um you got to turn the TV off. Like, I stopped watching TV. I was so addicted to Facebook. I mean, addicted to where I'll be scrolling for hours,
Mm-hmm.
get off the app, and then look in my phone and get right back on it and not even notice that I'm scrolling again. Like it was so mindlessly, so I was like, yeah, I got to get rid of this. So I deleted the app for 31 days and did not get on it. And that caused a domino effect. So once I
Mm-hmm.
did that, I stopped. I had so much time. Like people wouldn't believe how
Girl,
much
I'm
time I
fine.
spent,
Yeah.
spent on social media.
Mhm.
Um, so I started reading books. I just started buying all type of books from Amazon. At first it was like fictional books, books for just my entertainment. And then I got through those pretty fast. And then like I said, I was watching Judge Lynn Toler and she was kind of changing my mindset about my marriage, my relationship, and just learning how to have awareness, self-awareness of how you are and what I can do. So I started um I started reading more than I did anything. And when I started reading, it's like I got into uh personal development, and I love when people get into that because when you really get into that,
Mhm.
you get so addicted to it. So
Mhm.
it's like it's such like a ride up. That when you just like knowing you finding problems out and you feel like, oh, I got this problem, here's a book to learn how to fix that. So I just went crazy, like figuring out everything that was wrong. Like I love to hear what's wrong with me so I could find a book on it so I could see how to fix it. And
So when you say fix it, like
Mhm.
more or less work on whatever the area is, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So um for like one, like I was so hey Jana girl. But I was so um like not confident.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't confident, and mostly it's because I was like, I grew up the ugly friend, the ugly girl, and I let that perception of me become my reality.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's crazy, like people started calling me ugly like as a young kid because I was just darker than everybody else. Um, and somewhere along the line, I let that become my story, and I
Mm-hmm.
let that pain like literally stay with me until recently. When I started realizing that. When I started realizing that none of the things that people say about you have to be true about you.
Right. Right.
Like people can say whatever. There's no possible way to be everything you can be for any one person in this world.
Yeah.
So I'm like, instead of trying to make people, because I really did so much like dangerous stuff, trying to make people think I was pretty, trying to do crazy stuff to lose weight, all type of stuff that really was not even at the benefit of me, but at the benefit of
Somebody else.
not being called ugly in public or
Right.
not being, just like all this crazy stuff. Um, and realizing again, like I said before, none of the people did that, when I was younger. And it's crazy. I went through my adult life thinking that, and nobody
Right.
does that as an adult.
Right.
Not really.
Right. Right.
Um, and it's just I got to the point where I started looking up, like, let me read about other people's stories. Let me read about confidence. And I learned that, like, confidence, fake it till you make it. So I'm like, okay, so your brain is a muscle. If you start doing things that make you seem confident, for one, you're going to seem more confident to other people.
Mm-hmm.
For two, the more you start doing that, the more your brain will think that you are a confident person. So I start acting confident. I start
Yeah.
like, okay, if I'm walking, yeah, like I'm walking, like in the store or something, and I notice that I look down when I'm walking. So I'm like, let me look up.
Yeah.
And then I look up and I notice everybody else looking down.
Mm-hmm.
You don't notice how many people dealing with the same thing until you step back
You're
and look
right.
look around and realize, are we all looking down walking? So ain't none of us confident. Let me start. So I started trying to be the most confident person in the room. And I just started doing the opposite. What everybody else doing, I'm gonna do the opposite. When I would be like in a waiting room or something or around a bunch of people, I see everybody on their phones. I'm gonna put my phone down and I'm gonna sit just like this and just enjoy the view,
Right.
enjoy the time. So I started just putting things into practice. I started forcing myself to do things that I didn't like to do or I don't want to do. Um, and yeah, I noticed like the more that I gave up in the world, the more I
Mm-hmm.
was able to, like, you see, like you say a lot of times, like, how you doing all this stuff, like
Yeah.
all this stuff in a day.
Yeah.
Hey, Star. Like everybody always asking me that, like, oh, like I wrote a book, I got my master's degree, I did all of this stuff, and then I got 4 kids, and I'm homeschooling, and
Yeah.
I'm having businesses and working full time. It's because a lot of the time that we on the same time, I'm not watching TV. My TV, my Roku stay on that little purple screen. While I'm braiding my kids' hair, I'm listening to audiobooks. While I'm cooking, I'm listening to audiobooks. So I'm always learning
So,
something. I'm always
yeah.
doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's just like people don't know like how much time they have. Put that stuff down just for a little bit. I say give it
Mm-hmm.
a week of like not being on social media, and then two, I noticed my stress levels will go like was way down because we look at these social medias, and I know I would,
Yeah.
regardless if you tell yourself like I'm not comparing, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, you still see all these lives and wish your life was a little better,
Yeah.
even if it's not like the
And most of the time, a lot of stuff on there, it's not even good. I mean, I don't. I'm only on there for like this, or
Mhm.
if I'm promoting my stuff. But to actually sit on there and stroll, sometimes it can be just like, ugh,
Yeah,
depressed. I mean, I don't get depressed because I don't be on there like that. But some
yeah,
stuff is just like,
depressing.
yeah. So you know, but I think that's good. So, what would you tell a person that's trying to I want to say make it, I don't want to say make it, but you know,
Um,
because you've been through a lot, but yet God brought you through.
yeah.
He's the one that brought you through. At the end of the day, he's the one that did it all for you.
Yes, definitely did. I would tell them that's the first thing. Like you have to know your place where you are, understand where you are, where you want to go, and then how you want to get there. Like if you really want to get there, I would say search God out because He could do stuff for you that you ain't never even thought about praying for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one, is just pray. You don't have to be like a certain type of way. You don't have to, look away any kind of way. Come to Him truly
Yes,
as you are. Talk
yes,
how you talk.
yes.
Like God is slow to anger. And I think a lot of people miss that. Is that like all these people, when people sin, it's not like God up there like, oh, he's sin, I'm finna send the whale and he about to get swallowed up. No, he's slow to anger. Um he's slow to anger. So it's like he don't get mad like we get mad. So know that you can mess up. I messed up so many. I still mess up now. Like you can mess up, and that's the one person that's not finna sit
Yeah,
here and
he's
be making you like feel bad every time you do something wrong.
yeah, he's
So
definitely a forgiving father. That's
yes,
for sure. He is definitely forgiving. You
yeah,
know, we do make mistakes, but at the same time, we don't want to keep making mistakes over and over and over again, and knowing that we
yes,
doing the wrong thing.
yeah, because that means you ain't for real.
Right? Yeah.
Because that's my advice too. So my advice is to pray wherever you are in life, wherever you're trying to go. Pray. That's just
Hmm.
number one. Pray. And then the second thing is you have to do something different if you're trying to get something different. If you sitting in your life been the same way for the last 3 years and you wondering why, you know what I'm saying, you wondering why like you ain't lost weight, you wonder why you ain't, making the money you want to be making, but you doing the same thing you did, since you got out of high school. That's why you
Yeah.
have to learn how to also look at yourself and say, what am I doing that's causing this? Like, is my mindset, where it needs to be? Like, how do I think about everything? Your
Hmm.
mindset calls everything into question.
Yes,
So,
that's right. And you got to and think about this. The Bible says you have to renew your mind, and
yes.
not only that, but you have to ask God, okay, God, what is it? What is it about me that I need to change? What is it that I need to do to make myself a better person? What is it? Show me.
Mhm.
I need to do. Show me what it is that I'm not doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's and you're right. That's the first and foremost thing is to seek God.
Yep.
And I believe for you, just from hearing you talking to you, I believe that that's how it was for you. I mean, you went through all of that, and then like you said, you couldn't cry no more. You couldn't
Mm-mm.
cry no more, but you had to call on him because he was the only one that was gonna help you.
Yep.
Because can't nobody else help you.
And then you just gotta do the work. You gotta stop saying I'm gonna start Monday. You gotta pick up the pen, write down stuff.
You got
Stop
it.
stop doing. People gonna call you crazy because people called me crazy. Like when I was first starting doing stuff, because nobody else saw the
Hmm.
vision. They saw me just doing stuff.
And they're not
Huh?
gonna see it. They're not gonna
Mhm.
see it. And
Nope.
most of the time, it's not for them to see.
Right. And they not gonna see, like, people start coming after you start gaining some traction, because that's what happened to me. Is like, at first when I would put stuff out, like I would put stuff on Facebook all the time, nobody would like really, like, I had the same few people like sharing and supporting. But then it's like when people start to see, like, I just kept with it consistent. Like, you have to keep going when you don't see no movement. You have to keep going, because all that stuff is gonna build up, and it's gonna results are not fads. Results are like a collection of
Right.
hard work. So when I started to see, like, I started to slowly see little changes in my page. Like, I would see people, like, nobody, like 5 or 6 people watching my story. And now when I post a story, it's like 70 people, 100 people. Like,
Hmm.
and it's like I see the growth,
Hmm.
and I'm capitalizing on that. I'm realizing when I see a process that works, then I want to make it repeatable, and I'm gonna keep doing it in other areas of my life. And that's pretty much, that's like what I said I was gonna teach y'all in my group.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm seeing, like, you see, like when I my digital products, when was that, like a week ago, when I told you, like, I made 5 sales,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
and now I made over 30 sales. Like, that was 1 week, or what, 1 to 2
Mm-hmm.
weeks. So it's like I'm seeing this. If you can apply that process to yourself in every area, start reading, start praying, and start doing different things than what you normally do, and just sticking to it. It's not gonna happen fast. You have to go into it knowing that it's not gonna be a fast thing.
And it's just
Um, huh?
being consistent.
Yes, that's the big thing, is keep going when you suck at it. Keep going when you don't, when it's not happening for you, when nobody's supporting you, keep posting,
Yeah.
because all that stuff is everything that you do, that you putting out in the world, you come becoming a producer, not a consumer. When you're producing things, you're building up assets for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that you put, like these videos that you're doing, you putting on YouTube, these are assets that is going they're not standing to make you money in the short term, but in the long term. So
Mm-hmm.
when you get up there and you keep on making these, at one video gonna hit to where it's gonna like blow you
And
up, and to everybody else it's gonna look like overnight
you
success.
know what? And the thing about it is, for me, as far as doing this, is something that God had placed on my heart a while back ago. And
Mhm.
for me, it's not even about making the money. It's about more or less telling the truth, being
Mhm.
real, and then letting people know how the transformation took place, what God did for me, what He did for you, what He did for whoever I have on here. Because that's what it's all about. Just so other people can hear it and can be like, wow, you know what? If He did it for her, He could do it for me. Oh,
Mhm.
God is no respected person. If He
Yep.
for me, He could do it for you. Mine's not my. It might not come like yours came, but it's still gonna come.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My success might not come like yours came, but
Mm-hmm.
mine come because he's no respected person. So you are absolutely right when it comes to being consistent, doing it and stuff. Because sometimes I be like, girl, sometimes I get on there, I be tired of posting.
I know.
Tired of putting up them things, but I was just like, nope. And my husband was just telling me today. He said, no. He said, you just keep putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what? That's right. I'll just put it out there because whoever get tired of looking at it just don't need to be on my page.
Right.
That's
Yep. So now I'm glad you said that because that's the
that.
last thing.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
last thing is you can't do it for money.
Yeah.
Like you can't, so when you have to learn about money to realize how little it means, like how it's not as valuable as we think it is,
Right.
and it's more out there than we know. Is more out there than we know. But when you stop making it the goal just to get the money, then you stop being a person who chasing those short sales.
Mm-hmm.
You stop being a person who's stressing so much and running your business or whatever you're trying to do, running that on hope alone. And
Mm-hmm.
you start being able to put the works in that faith. So you start being able to say, okay, let me look at this. Let me see, did this work the last time I tried this strategy? Let me try something else. You start to be able to look at it with a business mindset and a clear mindset, and you start to be able to really see some growth from what you're doing. Because it can't be about the money. You got to have that mindset. The money gonna come.
Right.
It's gonna
Right.
come. You have to put time into whatever you're doing first.
Right.
And that just can't be the goal because, like I said, you have to be something. If you can solve a problem or do something that's going to be in service to somebody else, then you are already valuable right there.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
And you right,
that's what I would tell
right about
people.
that because I be putting the time in. I be putting that time in, and I be like, oh my goodness, this is like work, like for real work.
Yeah, it feel like that. And then too, you gotta stay consistent. So like
Exactly.
consistent but in a way of like if you have a YouTube channel, if you have a TikTok and it's the same, like you putting the same content on there, your brand have to look the same on both YouTube. You can't be yellow and purple on
Right.
TikTok and then green and red on YouTube.
Right.
So, because that makes you look so professional and that helps people catch on to you so much faster.
And that's usually what I do. I keep it all consistent. I don't change them. Yeah, I keep mine. It's all consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's
but you
good.
know what? I so appreciate having you on here with me. And I know this is
Mhm.
not going to be the end of our conversation because I'm always texting you about stuff
Right.
with some kind of business or questions or something. So,
Mhm.
but I really appreciate you, Olivia, having you on here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes, girl. And we would definitely be talking again. So you have a great evening. Be blessed, and we will talk again. Thank
All righty.
and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And you all have a blessed. Talk to you later,
All
Olivia.
right, bye.
All right.
We gotta get ready, get ready. We gotta get ready, get ready.